Good morning and welcome to Real Talk. Today, joining me from Oklahoma is my sweet friend Melissa from TCT Crafts. Good morning, Melissa. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do as far as wreath business is concerned.
Okay, I am Melissa with TCT Crafts, and I have an e-commerce business where we sell floral decor, so silk flowers, greenery, seasonal home decor, and I also am a silk floral designer, so I make arrangements, wreaths, swags, all the beautiful things for your home.
So I already said you are located in Oklahoma, but you're recent located in Oklahoma. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we moved here almost 2 years ago, a little over a year and a half ago. We were in Texas. So I was a military brat. I moved around as a kid, but from high school on, I've lived in Texas. So that was my home. But we decided my brother was getting ready to retire from the military after 25 years in the service. And he was trying to decide where he was going to move when he came back home from Germany. And he approached us with an idea of, hey, would you be interested in starting like a family ranch where we could buy some land and just build and come live together? And so we was like, of course, so that sounds like an amazing idea. The problem was, we want to bring all of our kids here eventually, and my nephew needs to stay in Oklahoma for work. He's younger than we are. We can work from home, and it's easier for us to move. So we decided to find some land up here in Oklahoma and start our family ranch up here. And it has been such a blessing. So that is how we ended up in Oklahoma. Was to start this family ranch, and I blame my nephew and I tell him he better never leave that job since we moved all the
Because I mean, the whole family is now there. So you have your home where you are on your ranch, and you had mentioned the acreage. You have how many acres?
107 acres. So about 50 of those acres are wooded, and then the other 50 is cleared land in different sections. And so we moved my parents up here. They just finished building their house. They moved in September. So they are here. We moved my mother-in-law here. She is staying in the little tiny home kind of next to us where we stayed while we were building our home. So I've got both sets of parents here. My brother and sister are now, or my brother and sister-in-law are now here. We have two of our kids here. They have two of their kids here, and we've got more that are coming this summer. So super excited. Yes.
But TCT Crafts is also located on that land, correct?
Yes, so we built our warehouse. So I had a warehouse in Texas, a little bit smaller scale, but as we've continued to grow, when we moved here, I built a larger warehouse. It is up towards the front of the property, right off the road, because I needed to be able to have access for the semi trucks that come in to bring us all the pallets of the pretty goodies. So we are up at the front, and that's where our warehouse is, and then our homes are in the, a little further back on the acreage.
So at any point, are you going to name streets on your acreage?
Well, it's funny. We might. It's funny because you said that on my mom's street, we kept calling it driveway, and she's like, "That's not my driveway. My driveway is by my house. This is the road." So my brother, because my brother is quite the comedian, had a sign made that says driveway, and he put it on her road. So that's there, but eventually we might name some little roads. We talked about it. I think it'd be cute.
I think that you can do whatever you want because it's your property and your land. So we're going to back up a little bit. So TCT Crafts hasn't always existed. So how long has TCT Crafts been around?
So I started this in the very end of 2019. So around the September window of 2019 is when we started TCT Crafts.
So fairly new. So it's going into its seventh year, sixth year, seventh year, seventh.
This will be, well, just over 6, I think, right? because it's 2026. Yeah, so about 6 years.
Yeah, I can't math right now because of, how we started, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So, so it's been since 2019. So before everything closed down. So before that, our friend Melissa was in corporate America. Talk about that.
Oh, yes. So I was in the banking and mortgage industry for a little over 20 years. I kind of started out in a smaller bank and then kind of worked my way up to some larger banks. I was in one for about 8 years. I would probably still be there today had they not decided to close their mortgage division. But I was on their leadership team there. I led our post-closing division for quite a while, and then I switched over into more project management. So I led a department of associates, and I really, really enjoyed it. They decided to close their mortgage business, and so in 2018, I switched to a smaller bank. I was still running. I was vice president of loss mitigation. I ran a smaller team, um, and I loved it for a little while, and then just kind of reached that burnout stage. And my husband and I had some other adventures we were trying to do. We were blessed that he had a wonderfully paying job that could afford me the luxury to leave corporate America and start this dream business. So
She's giving you all the highlight stuff. So we're going to dig a little deeper. Let's talk about you and your time at the lake house and how this all really started.
yeah, so how I actually, because I am an entrepreneurial at heart. I've got a zillion ideas in my head, and my husband probably gets sick of me bringing them to him, and he's on right now, so he's listening. Um, but I'm always coming up with ideas. Hey, we should do this. We should do that. But how I ended up doing what I'm doing is we had a lake house that we would go to on the weekends. It was in a beautiful community in East Texas, very heavily wooded. And he would be out when we were there. He would be outside, cutting down trees and maintaining the yard and all the things. And a lot of times, sometimes we had the kids, sometimes we didn't. But I kind of felt like I needed something to do. And so I was like, well, I want to make a wreath for our front door. Well, of course, I had no idea how to make a wreath. So I went to YouTube, just like many, many of you, I'm sure. And I found a wreath video there on YouTube, and I was like, okay, I think I can make this. Now, these were the times where, you go to the Dollar Tree, you get the wire wreath form, and you make your own little tinsel ties out of the chenille stems. So I made my little ties. I got the wreath mesh. I think I probably got the mesh from the Dollar Tree, and the ribbon. I think everything probably came from the Dollar Tree. And then I found a little C, like a little letter, and I made a little wreath for our door and I was like, this was fun. I really enjoyed this. So I was like, well, I'm going to make another one because our neighbor, they were a sweet little couple. They were retired. And because we were only there on the weekends, we were there during the week to be able to take our trash out. So they graciously offered to take our trash down to the curb for us during the week when we weren't there. So I was like, well, I want to make her a wreath as a thank you. So I made another one and gave it to her. And I was like, I really enjoy this. This is super fun. Something I can do on the weekends. And so then it just kind of snowballed from there. Had to make mom one. Then I started making the ladies I made my boss one. She really loved it. And of course the other girls loved them. So I was like, you know what? It was getting close to Christmas time. So I was like, I'm going to make one for each of my associates that they can hang on the end of their cubicles. So I made every one of them a wreath and got the little magnetic hangers and put them on their cubicles. And we had a lined row of cubicles with little wreaths on them. And one of my ladies said, you really should sell these on, can I say it? Okay, you really should sell these on Etsy. And I was like, maybe one day, I just kind of do it for fun. I just enjoyed it. And I just gifted these. I was just doing them as a hobby. I wasn't even selling them at this time. But that's where my love for wreath making came, was just something to do on the weekends. I just enjoyed it. And when I kind of reached that sort of burnout phase, Again, we had some other things that we were hoping to be able to do. So I kind of wanted to slow down and step away from the corporate world. I came back to that. I wonder maybe I should try to sell these. So I started before I did Etsy. I started just doing Facebook Marketplace. Well, let's see if anybody wants to buy these. And so I did the Facebook Marketplace, did that for a little while. But you got to go and meet the people and deliver them, and not everybody wants to do porch pickup. And um, then COVID happened, and we couldn't. I couldn't get out.
But that's what happened to a majority of us. Like we dabbled and dabbled, and then all of a sudden everything shut down. So yes, walk us from that point.
Yeah, so COVID happened. I was no longer able to, go and meet people to deliver these wreaths. So I came back. I was like, okay, let's get Etsy going. By this time, because this is now we're in 2020, so I've been into it a 4 or 5 months. Um, I had joined a business coaching group, and which talked about Etsy and how to get our Etsy shop up and going and all of that. And I think I cannot remember, I might have actually set the Etsy shop up right before 2020, but really didn't actively start doing anything with it until COVID happened. And then, we switched to the online world where everything had to be bought online. So that's when I started really kind of getting serious with it, putting my wreaths on Etsy, and then it kind of started into the supplies. So I was like, well, I can't really go to the store to shop. I need to buy, online. Well, I was a business. I set up my business from the beginning. Go ahead.
Wait a second though. So you're setting your Etsy store up for your wreaths. You're buying supplies online. When did it switch from buying supplies for yourself to then selling supplies?
Very, very early in the process. Again, my business brain was working. I came from a business background. So I knew we were in COVID. People are having to buy online. I'm buying online. We set up the business from the very beginning as an LLC. So I'm buying wholesale already. So my brain was thinking, okay, well, if I'm buying these wholesale, I'm not going to need, and sometimes, back then, it's gotten a little bit easier to buy wholesale now, but back then you had to have like higher minimums before you could buy. Well, if I'm buying a box, that's got, I don't know, 80 stems in them, I didn't necessarily need 80 stems for myself. And I wasn't really doing multiples or anything at the time. So I was like, well, I'll take out, what I need, a little handful, and then I'll just sell the rest online. And so that's how that started. Is just whatever I would get, I'd pull a few out that I needed, and then I would just list the rest because I knew everybody else needed to buy supplies as well online. So it started very, very early on. And so then my business just kind of grew between wreaths and supplies. As the supplies kind of took over more so than the wreaths, I split my shops. So now I have two shops. So I have a wreath and arrangement Etsy shop, and then I have a supply shop.
Is your supply shop both on Etsy
Yes, I have
and your website?
it is. Yes, I have both. Most things are on both sites. There's a few things that are just on the website, but primarily they're both. I will say though, if you shop on the website, sometimes there are things that are a little bit less expensive on the website than shopping on Etsy, just because Etsy has to charge us fees, right? As sellers, we have to pay Etsy fees. So if I can sell it directly from my website, I'm not paying those Etsy fees. So there is a little bit of discount sometimes on certain products if you shop directly from the website. But I know some people are really comfortable with Etsy. They know Etsy. They like and trust Etsy. Plus, I ship internationally on Etsy. So I keep them in primarily both places. Yes.
So when it comes to shipping internationally, you're dealing with a lot of things that people who don't ship internationally deal with. Was that a hard transition for you or was it seamless?
I mean, selling the selling part is easy. There's not a whole lot. You got to kind of estimate your shipping costs. That can be a little tricky sometimes. The problem comes in is packages get lost a lot when you ship internationally, unfortunately. So there are times you kind of question, like, do I want to keep doing this? But, our stuff is, stuff like this is not available worldwide in a lot of places from what I hear. So I really want to, as long as I can, keep trying to sell internationally. But just know if you do, you're going to run into things that get lost in the mail. Sometimes you can file claims, but, you got to deal with that. Sometimes you can't. They just, I don't know. It can be a little tricky sometimes, but I still would rather do it because the percentage of that happens is very low. So I still offer it for now. And on our website, we do Canada and all the continental United States and Alaska and Hawaii. I'm hopefully looking to open up more international on our website. We're almost there, so more information on that coming soon.
I have a friend who has been part of the Wreath community for a long time. Her name is Ruth, and she pops into a lot of. She's in Australia, and she's always asking if anybody ships to Australia. So hopefully, we can figure out how to get that precious soul some supplies because she says it's nearly impossible to get anybody to ship to her.
Yeah, the part of the problem is, it has to go through customs. And so sometimes we have issues with duties and fees. Some of the shipping platforms will help you with that, getting them, so that the customer isn't sticker shocked when they go to pick that up. But it's not always easy. And then, just time, where I can ship something here, you're going to get it next week. Sometimes it can be up to a month before they're going to get their item. So though I think a lot of the international buyers know that, but if they're new to buying, then they have to be aware that if you're needing something, you're not going to get it quick, unfortunately.
So it's patience, and Michael had said in the chat that it's time and customs. It's just all part of this situation. So when it comes to the things that you sell, do you sell mesh? I don't think I've seen mesh in your shop. Do you sell mesh? Okay, see, I haven't looked at anything but florals because I'm wedding focused, and right now that's all I'm buying. So you offer all supplies for all wreath makers and all the stuff?
I pretty much offer everything. The only thing I'm not offering right now is like the wreath frames, just the pencil tied frames. We do artificial pine bases, so we do those type, swags, all of that, but just the metal frames, I'm not doing those just yet. But we do have mesh. I try to stock up more of mesh during the holidays. I don't personally use mesh very, very often, so it's not something that I use, but for the seasonal, I do try to keep a pretty good supply, but yes, we do have mesh.
The reason I ask that obviously is because I lean towards mesh. That is where my jam is. That's my preference right now, not because of anything other than I just haven't done enough of the grapevine floral stuff, but because of this wedding, that's all I'm focused on right now. So I look to people like you who are very much comfortable in the artificial flower arranging and everything else. And I know that you go live on your platforms. So share a little bit about what that is for you and where people can watch you during the week and when you go live, and if there's any type of schedule that you follow.
So I don't have a set schedule, although I need to do that. I know I need to do that. It's on my list. But typically once a week, I'm going to go live on YouTube and Facebook, sometimes twice a week. So we went live last night on Thursdays. I'm going to try to start doing Thursday evenings, at least for a while, see how that goes. And then generally, if I do go live during the week, it's usually around 2 p.m. But yeah, and I will always make a post before I go live so that you guys can get a heads up of when it's going to be. But yeah, Facebook and YouTube. I have started going live just a couple times on TikTok. So I'm going to try to make that into my weekly rotation as well. Try to do a live on TikTok as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I can either take the blame for that or the credit for that, however you want to look at it, because I was like, Melissa, you have enough followers to go live on TikTok, and I need you to go live before you can go come do real talk with me. So she did put in the effort to get that done. So I am thrilled. And the reason why a lot of us prefer TikTok is there's a lot of more things we can do, like we can play music during our live if we feel like it. We can engage with the people that come watch us. Easier, I think it's easier than like Facebook. It takes a while for comments to start and all of that stuff, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So going from corporate America to then having a craft business, that's a jump, a huge jump. Talk about that journey, because I know it was scary.
It was scary. When you have a very successful career, um, making very good money, to then jump into making wreaths and playing with ribbon. Not everybody understands that. I don't even know if I understood it quite, and I know my husband probably wanted to kill me, but he was my biggest supporter, and he always has been, and is my biggest cheerleader. So, but yeah, it was hard to explain to people, that I'm going to quit this lucrative career over here and play with mesh and ribbon. But it was more than that. It really was more than that. It started that way, but I knew I had a vision of where I wanted to take this. I wanted to build this business. I want it to be a family run business. Hopefully, as time goes and we continue to grow, like I would love to be able to bring my kids into it and have a place that they can build a career. We're almost to that point. I'd love to bring my son on as like a warehouse manager. So, I mean, really, TCT stands for the card team. And so it's a family run. I would love to bring it all into the business. So I had a vision of where it was going, and we're getting there. We're getting there.
Sitting to hear for somebody who gets that dream, right? That dream of that freedom of not having to go to a job, build somebody else's dream. You get to build your own dream that's yours, and it can go any direction that you want it to. So right now, like you said, you have your parents that help you, I think, in the warehouse, right? You have your parents that kind of manage that at this time.
Yes, so it started with back in 2020, I think it was. Yes, it was 2020, the end of 2020. Um, my husband and I were going to go on a little trip, and it was the first time I was leaving the business. And at this time, we had orders that came in every day, not as much as we do now. But I was like, well, I'm either going to have to set it on vacation mode, and my mother, she lived when we had moved in 2019 to a new home on an acre of land that they had started like a guest house, but they hadn't finished it when we bought it. So my parents sold their house and they finished construction on the guest house. So they live right next door to us. And so she was like, well, if you show me how to ship, I can ship them for you while you're gone. And so that's how it started. So I showed mom how to ship. From there on, I have to kick her out of the warehouse. She loves it. And they were retired. They were newly retired, and it gave her something to do, and she loves it. And so she is my current warehouse manager. She runs it all. We get pallets in, she unboxes them all, she finds a place on the shelf for them. My dad, when orders come in the morning, they come down here every day. Dad will go and pull the orders and get them lined up on the long table for her. She will go behind him and double check and get them shipped out. So yes, they love it. But that's how it started. She was just filling in, and filling in turned
That
into
gives you purpose, though. That gives you purpose. I mean, I don't know how many people are watching currently that have retired, but you hear a lot of things that happen to retirees when they don't have something to wake up for in the morning, where they don't have somewhere to go in the morning. That whole depression can set in. And mind you, we don't want to work our entire lives, but if we can find something that we can do that we love, that we would do it even if we wouldn't get paid. That's the big one. Would we do it even if we didn't get paid? That's huge, right? So I love that you offered that opportunity by accident. We'll reiterate that by accident, that your mom and dad can actually be part of something that you're building. And that is phenomenal, fantastic. And it stays within the fact that you are building a family business. So that is huge. So you are also going to share with us a little bit about just the different things that you've done in your career up to this point that have actually been so beneficial in like, because we can look back and see every single step that was taken that has helped us get to where we are today. So share a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, definitely being in, the in the corporate America and running a business. So I was running somebody else's business, but it gave me the skills and the tools that I need to implement that into my own business. Before I left, I was doing project management, and so really looking at how you can scale things, how you can, you know, I'm losing a blank on the word, but streamline things, and you can pull that all into your own business. So I was able to take those skills that I learned running somebody else's business and try to put them into my own. Do I do it perfectly? No. Are there things that I need to be doing? Of course. But it definitely helped having a little bit of background business knowledge, versus if I didn't and I was trying to build this from the ground up, it would have been a lot more difficult. So that really did help.
And you were part of a coaching group and you have been adamant about you need to invest in your craft to grow it. So do you want to share a little bit about that journey and what you've done to actually be involved in that for yourself?
Yes, I think it's very, very important. If you're starting out, look, I had the biggest business background, but that doesn't mean I know everything, and I still don't. I'm constantly learning. So it is very important if you're going to be serious about starting a business, invest in a good business coach. Take a class, take a course, something that's going to help you. I am still in a business coaching group, still to this day. Are there things that are repetitive? Of course, but it's always good to get refreshers. Sometimes it's good to go back to the basics, and just take a relook at things like, you know what, I haven't done that in a while. I better go do that. But as things are constantly evolving, I mean, look, when I started in 2019, I'm sure ChatGPT was out there and AI existed, but it's nowhere near it is like today. And had I not stayed in a constant business group and setting, like, I would be lost. I really would be lost. So staying up there, a business group, people in your community that come together that do very similar things can help you brainstorm and really stay current with the things that are going on in the world. And that's very helpful, and then help you to implement them into your business. So I highly encourage staying engaged with either a business group, continue to take courses, whatever it is that you feel more comfortable. Maybe you don't feel comfortable in a group, but invest in yourself. That was a good point that you say, because it is very helpful.
Well, like you said, you don't know everything, and the good part is that we all are gifted. We all have our giftedness. We all have things that come naturally to us that we immediately can be like, no, I'm good at this. Like, this is what I'm really, really, really good at. And somebody else could be really good at the thing that you need to learn but are struggling with. And if you are in a community, like Michael said over there, network with like-minded folks, builds relationships and peer learning. It is the most valuable thing that anybody can do for their business. And Melissa and I are going to stand on that absolutely 100%. Now, there's a difference in joining a design style group to a business style group. You actually have a group. Talk about what you teach in your group.
So lean more on the design. I have a design group. At this time, I don't really talk business in there. I may throw a little business tip or trick, something that I kind of do on occasion. And that might evolve as the group evolves. We're a fairly new design group, but I don't right now. I'm not going to say never, never say never. But at this time, I don't see myself as a business coach or wanting to teach business just yet. But I will throw tips and tricks in there, but we have a design group. So I have a design group that I started. I started it last year. This year, starting in January, I kind of wanted to step back, reinvent it, really focus on it. Last year, I kind of, I got it started, but didn't really put the time and effort that I really wanted to into it. And so I refocused. We switched to a different platform. And that is my focus this year, is my design group. And so we started that in January over on Facebook. We have a private design or a private group on Facebook. Our tutorials are hosted on YouTube as unlisted. I provide them recipe cards that have all the supplies, what we used, the link to the unlisted YouTube video so they can download those PDFs, save them, come back to the design later if they want to. But I also do live tutorials in there. So the lives will stay in the Facebook group, but all the pre-recorded stuff is hosted on YouTube as unlisted, and they get a little PDF printout with all the kind of the recipe for that. So I teach design. We do at least one wreath, swag, door hanger, something that hangs on a door every month, and then we will do a centerpiece or an arrangement. So you're going to get one of each, because not everybody likes to do centerpieces or arrangements. Not everybody likes to do wreaths, but I will teach one of each. Then we do a monthly challenge piece. So I will come up with a challenge for the month, and that can fluctuate. That could be a swag, that could be a centerpiece, that could be a wreath. So depending on what the challenge is, they're going to learn something on that. And then when I go live into our monthly Q&A, we'll do a live design, and that will fluctuate as well. So a little bit of everything, I think, on the design side. Not so much mesh though. Maybe we'll throw in a mesh one every once in a while. I think I did a mesh one for Mardi Gras. But I started with mesh, and there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I started there. I love to play with florals. I'm just a floral girl. And so as
what draws you, right? It's what draws you in, and that's why you're so good at it. Now, mind you, and I'm going to speak to the whole community when I say this, if there is something that you like to do, whether it be working with mesh or working with florals, working with both, whatever it is, lean into what you innately go for. Because here's the thing, if you don't have the patience to learn origami, let me tell you something, mesh is not for you. If you don't have the patience to figure out how to twirl, curl, ruffle, cruffle, whatever, yes, mesh is not for you. I like that I can predict pretty much with technique that I'm going to get the same result. And that's why mesh works for me. But I fully understand why florals work for you. You have an eye for it. You can tell anytime you design something, Melissa, I stand back and I'm like, that's a gift. That's a giftedness that you have, especially with the choosing of the florals that you use and the airy effect that you get where things have movement. I'm absolutely in love with your design style. Totally. If you want to learn how to design with florals, you need to look into joining Melissa's group. And here's the thing, Melissa, talk about if somebody just wants to check you out for a month.
That's perfectly fine. And I highly encourage it. Okay. I highly encourage it to try something for a while and then pivot. Go watch another designer, because we all have different learning styles, and you're going to learn something new from each and every designer that you watch, learn from. And, it's just like they say in your career, right? If you stay at a career for, they typically say stay there for 2 years, go on to something else, because you want your mind to constantly be learning new things. And so join, learn. Once you feel like you've kind of got that down, there are lots of other fantastic designers out there that you can be a part of. So no hard feelings at all. It is month to month. Join for a while, and then if it's time for you to find another designer, no hard feelings.
That's what I love about Melissa as well, is that she is a professional, which means that She understands the need to pivot to grow. She understands that, being that she came from a world that was the norm. If you are learning from her at this time because you need skills that she can actually teach you and you can learn by watching, Melissa's the person to go to. If you need to then pivot, guess what? You still have a friend. Melissa's going to still cheer you on. And it's so beneficial. I'm loving that your husband is in the chat because he said that he can see your wheels turning. Like, I caught that, Michael. I caught that you said that. And he said before TCT Crafts, Melissa literally said she wasn't crafty.
I didn't know. And I don't know if it wasn't that I wasn't crafty or I just didn't have the time to know if I was crafty. I think that was more of it. I did not have time to craft between, work. We worked a lot of hours, and then the kids, they were always busy into something. There just really was no time to craft. But yeah, I never thought I had a blog at one time that said The Uncrafty Crafter. And that was my blog. I had a domain for that. I think I let it go. But that's where investing in yourself. I've watched many, many designers, YouTube, just, practice, right? Does it always still come out perfect? No. There are times, there's probably a design I did last week that I'm going to look at it tomorrow and think, what? So, some things are better than others, but over time, my skills have evolved, and I just love it. So.
Well, last night was a perfect example. I got to watch you live last night. Last night was a perfect example where she shared that the design that's right in front of you, go ahead and talk about that. When the design is right in front of you, there's things you can't see.
No, especially when you're designing live, you're busy, you're talking and engaging with the community, but you've got this arrangement that's right here, and you're putting your things in, and right there in front of you, it looks great. When you go to set it aside and take those photos is really when you kind of start to see, oh, there's a hole right here, or I need a flower to come off and make this, make your eye kind of flow that way. So that's really when you can, I highly encourage, sometimes just stop, walk away, come back 15 minutes later. You're going to see something different. But photos, take a picture, look at your picture. Before you just take picture and post, look at your picture. Do I always get it right? No. Sometimes I still post them. I'll go back, a couple weeks later to see, why I hadn't sold, and I'm looking at the photos. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed that, right? But yeah, take a picture, look at it, and then you'll start to kind of see. Because I know when I watch designers, from a viewer standpoint, you can see all the things. And I'm like, you need something right there. There's a hole there. Or why did you put the bow there? It needs to be a little bit up here. But when you're standing in front of it, you really can't see it. So, it's good to step back.
That makes people like me feel better because of the fact that you think, like, especially when you're live, and I tell people all the time, sometimes I get off the live and I pull the whole thing apart. I mean, honestly, it's happened, and that's okay. Like, this is how you learn. This is how you grow. This is how you evolve into the designer that you are meant to be. But don't be afraid to pull things out. Don't be afraid to add things in. It's perfectly okay. And that's the things that I want people to hear from other people other than just one person. You have to hear that it's really much the same rinse and repeat. You have to be able to pivot within your design. Now, you have huge family support. Obviously, we've been able to see Michael. Thank you for being here, by the way, Michael. We've seen Michael in the chat, but talk about how supportive your family is.
Oh, I mean, so supportive. Like I said, my husband has been my biggest cheerleader. He financially supported the business for several years. We're just now to a point, it takes time, guys. It takes time. You don't make money overnight. I still, to this day, and I'm going to publicly say, am not taking a paycheck. My money is going back into the business. I'm going to be, I've got to pay back for all of the startup costs. So we're just now getting to the point in year 6 that we're starting to see the fruit of our labors, right? But it, huge support for my husband. He financially and emotionally and physically has supported me. So when we get pallets of goodies that come from those semi trucks, And my husband works a full-time job. He has a very successful business as well that he works from home, but he will stop in the middle of meetings sometimes or try to, in between meetings, he will get on the tractor because we got the little forks on the tractor, and he will get the pallets off the trucks for me and bring them in. And then mom and dad take over. So mom and dad are here. Like I said, they're helping me run the warehouse. I could not do it without them because between the orders, trying to keep up with the business side of stuff, it doesn't run itself. So I am my own advertiser. I have to advertise, market. I have to drive people to the website. So there's a lot of that going on that I'm doing. So having their help in the warehouse it's tremendous. And then my kids, every single one of our kids has learned how to ship. And my daughter actually did social media for me for a little bit. One of our sons did social media for me for a little bit. They got sick of it. It didn't last long, but but they at least tried. So yeah, all my kids have been here supportive. Now we've got more family members on the ranch who, come down, have asked, is there anything that we can do to help? So I know I can call on them if, we need extra hands, especially around the holidays. My daughter comes down. So when we were in fourth quarter, she would come down several days a week and help mom and dad pull and ship orders. So yeah, it's a huge support. I couldn't do it without them. Truly couldn't.
Anytime that you hear about somebody's behind the scenes, because that's very much behind the scenes, you always hear about those that are cheering the face, because you're the face of the company. I mean, you're the face of the business as far as like what we see. Have you shared any of the behind the scenes stuff? Have you shared any footage of like what it takes to make TCT Crafts run on a daily basis?
Probably not as much as I should have. But yes, I have shared. I need to do a better job at it. People they want to see the real you, not just the Instagram pretty parts, right? And so I'm pretty bad about that. But yes, I have showed around the warehouse. I've done some videos of the ranch, showed mom out there working, but you make a very good point. I need to do a better job at that.
Because I just found out about you like the middle of last year. Like I didn't even know, not to say that I know everybody that's out there, but I was very surprised to learn about Melissa. And then of course to get to know Melissa. Now we are part of a group together, and that's how I've really gotten to know Melissa. But at the same time, it has been such a blessing because I can see like how she's grown her business. Guys, this is not an overnight thing. This is a definitely built from the ground up. And the way to be successful is to not give up. Share with everybody about that.
Yeah, I mean, do we go through times of doubt? Of course. There are many days that I think, man, what am I doing? I think I'm working harder here than I did over at corporate America. When you have a job like that, when you go home, you can turn it off. You're home. When you run a business, it is constantly in your mind, and you're coming home, and then you're getting on social media because you need to respond to comments. You need to make that TikTok post. You need to, do a story with your photo. Like it can be a lot sometimes, but you can't give up. You just have to keep going. And so, do we go through those days? Of course. And then I just have to, take a breath and realize what my dream is and what the big picture is, and just come back to that. And being consistent, that's very key. Have I always done a great job at it? No, but I'm trying to be, really consistent, and daily post, staying engaged in our community. That's the only way that you're going to get your name out there. We're not a big box store. We don't have a logo that everybody knows. You see the big M, you immediately know who that is. You see TC Crafts logo, like you wouldn't know, except for it says my name on it. But I mean, generally speaking, you know what I mean. They're not going to know you if you don't put yourself out there. So
Yeah, but here's the thing, doing things like this, where you now have an interview where people can go back and say, hey, this is a small business that I can get behind. And I'm telling you, her florals, the florals that she picks out, the florals that she offers, I'm telling you, they're high level florals. They're she's not going to put something out for us that she's not going to use in her shop herself. And the woman's got good taste. I'm just letting you know. She's got really, really good taste. So you go to market. You go to Dallas market. Do you go to Atlanta market as well or no?
Not yet. We might, but
Okay.
right now just Dallas. Yeah.
So when you go to market, that is basically where you're getting all your supplies from. You're going there, you're picking out your supplies. So can you walk us through like what that's like? Because a lot of us have heard the word market, but we really fully don't understand what that means.
So I go to Dallas Market twice a year. So we go in January. In January, we are shopping for the fourth quarter seasons. So we are shopping for fall, Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras. It's a lot. 5 different holidays we're having to shop for. When we go in June, so I'll be going again in June, we are shopping for more of the spring. So Easter, patriotic, spring, summer, those are the holidays. So it's a little less during that we're having to buy for during the June market, but the Dallas market, and it's a lot. It can be very, very overwhelming. You can ask my husband. It's a lot of work, and just going to market is just the first piece of it. Okay, when you come home, now a lot of designers will place their orders while they are at market. Um, I'm more analytical and I need to come home, put it on a spreadsheet. I need to make sure I'm not buying, 5 of the same thing from 3 different people. So I kind of map it out a little bit. It takes a while. It takes a couple weeks for me to kind of get all my orders together. But you go into Dallas Market, you have 3 buildings that we shop from that is, I don't even know how many floors. Stores above stores above stores. Now we typically have, I have about 10-ish wholesale companies that I buy primarily from, but there are so many stores that you can shop from. And so each time I go, I try to look at a couple new stores because, a lot of us designers who sell wholesale, we shop the same places. And so which is fine, but I like to also be able to pick out maybe some things that maybe you can't find in some of the other shops. So picking out some new stores and offering a couple new items each time is important to me as well. But it can be overwhelming. Lots of shopping. Think about the largest mall you could ever imagine, having to go into all the stores and then try to decide what you're going to buy for the season, and you got to stay within a budget. Now, my husband says I never stay within a budget, but the ugly B word, it can be very difficult.
Get it. I get it. But the B word keeps you from like not being successful and hurting yourself. So I'm going to read a few of the comments because Mary and Michael are going back and forth. So Mary said, sometimes you put 8 hours of work in your dreams while you sleep. It's called entrepreneur rest. And then Michael says she works 24/7. Any downtime, she is constantly following up nighttime crime show on in the background. So apparently you like crime shows. Okay. So Leslie said top notch florals. And then Michael said, thank God some suppliers have beer for me.
Yes, my husband goes with me to market. Now, sometimes he'll stay at the hotel and work for a while, and then he'll come join me. But he follows me and helps me. And like I said, he's my biggest supporter. So I know it has to be so boring for him. I mean, imagine if you had to go into like a Home Depot and look at screws all day when you're a girl who doesn't do that. I would lose my mind. But he is very helpful. He'll walk around. He'll talk to some of the supplier reps with me, and he'll just hang out and drink a beer or a Coke or whatever they have available. And he's such a trooper.
Important too. So basically you're not going there with other suppliers or other wreath makers. It's you and your husband going for TCT Crafts. So goal setting, okay? Like you said, TCT Crafts isn't like the big M, right? But there's always a goal. You want to be known for what you provide and what you sell. So, what is the goal for 2026 to move that needle forward for TCT Crafts?
Well, I think the one of the biggest goals is just to really try to get my name out there more, build more relationships in the community, build my affiliate program. So I do have an affiliate program. I have a few designers who heavily support my business and will design and go live every month with goodies from the shop. And, that's helping me. It helps them as well with a different revenue stream for them. But I really would like to continue to grow my affiliate program and relationships in the community. Again, my primary focus this year is my design group. I really want to grow that, build more confidence in those ladies who want to learn how to play with florals, and create more wreath makers and people who like to make silk floral arrangements out there. So those are kind of my 2026 goals. I'm not going too crazy. I'm just going to focus on the group. I really want to grow the affiliate program and continue to get my name and build more relationships with others in the community.
And that's so important. You guys heard that she's been doing this for 6 years. She's just now starting to see light at the end of the proverbial foundation building, because now it's the walls, the roof, everything else. And then the sky's the limit. Like how big she grows, the sky's the limit. But here's the wonderful part about Melissa. She's doing a realistic goal. That's a realistic goal. That is not an overarching goal that is unattainable. You guys, we have to do realistic goals because we need to see success in what we're building. So, and Melissa is fantastic about that. You definitely want to get to know Melissa and definitely shop with her. Definitely shop with her. All right. So, what is the biggest lesson you learned about running this type of business?
Oh, the biggest lesson. Oh, goodness. Consistency is key. That I will say that over and over again. Consistency is key. People are not going to know you. They don't know you. They don't. When you are online and try to have an online presence, there are things that are out of your control. The algorithms, okay? They're going to show people certain things. And even though I'm posting daily, a very, very small percentage of people are actually going to see my post. So it can be very discouraging and you can feel like you just want to give up. Why am I not growing? Why are my numbers not growing? And you have to kind of like quit focusing on the numbers. Okay. And I don't have a huge online presence, but I'm driving the right traffic to my website and we are being very successful, even though I don't have, 100,000 followers on Facebook. But can it be discouraging? Yes. So just stay consistent, don't give up, and just keep moving. Drive the right traffic. Focus on things that are important. So don't think about the vanity numbers. I am constantly pinning on Pinterest. I'm driving my own traffic. I don't really run ads, although that may be something that I will look at doing as we continue to grow to kind of drive more traffic, but it's pretty much all organic. Other than, a couple little Etsy ads on certain things. But other than that, as far as for the website, yeah. So consistency, don't give up.
But that's the other part of this, right? So it is not an overnight thing. You can make a design, you can have supplies, you can post them up, you can do all of these things. But if you're not consistent, if you're not consistently showing up, you want people to be sick of you. That is what I heard Melissa say. You need to post so much that people are like, oh, I've seen that. I know that. It takes what, 7 times of somebody seeing the same thing before it clicks? 7 times. And if you're just posting one and done, guess what? Nobody's going to see that. Nobody's going to see that. Melissa said quality followers over quantity is key for success, and she told you to preach it. Preach it. So you talked about using your business brain. Okay. So in using your business brain, now somebody that's starting out, they're going to get desperate for that sale. They're going to get desperate to move things around, to put things, lower their prices, to do all of these things. What do you recommend?
Don't lower your prices. Don't lower your prices. You're not only going to hurt yourself, but you hurt other designers who are out there trying to do the same thing that you are doing. Now, do your prices change as you grow? Of course. When I started out, I could not sell a $200 arrangement. My skills were not there. I was not using the same supplies that I'm doing now. You know, I started buying the less expensive florals, and that's okay. We all start somewhere. Um, but, you know, you price according to your materials that you're using and your experience. So as you continue to grow, you can start to charge a little bit more and more for your designs. One, your experience is there. Two, you're now probably using higher quality florals, which are more expensive, but they really make your design stand out and you can get a higher dollar for them. But don't lower your prices. Because that's really going to start to hurt not only you, but because, you know, and a lot of times, especially in the floral world, if someone takes a look at something that's only, let's just say $47, and it's a really big arrangement, they're going to start to question, why is that so cheap compared to, you know, some of these other ones? So it can also hurt you to have a lower price. Yeah.
A great point. I mean, several people don't really understand that concept. Yes, everybody wants a deal, and we understand that people want deals. That's fine. But the truth of the matter is that you're hurting your business along with other people's business. It really doesn't help you. Now, if you want to sell locally for a cheaper rate to move stuff that's not visible online, yes, absolutely do that. But when you do it online, there's a record of it, and you don't want to be doing that so that it's seen and it gets hurt everybody across the board. Now, debunk a myth. Why are you selling supplies knowing that there's so many other people selling supplies?
Why not? Why not? There's enough supplies to go around, my friend. So, yes, there are. You think about how many people are in the United States and how many people are in the world. We can't all, you know, each and every designer who is selling supplies has a budget. We cannot buy out and sell everything that we sold at market. So if designer over here is selling a certain things, they may not have certain things that I'm selling and vice versa. So we can shop each other, right? I can't sell everything. I don't have the funds to be able to, you know, have a, you know, 3 and 4 warehouses full of supplies. So I have to choose certain things that I want to sell. Other designers are going to do the same thing. So, you know, we don't all, do we sell some of the same supplies? Of course. But we all have different styles as well. I may go into a supplier and I'm looking for real touch florals that look more realistic. We have another designer who, like yourself, really loves wreath meshes. They're going to be looking at the wreaths. I mean, not the wreaths. They're going to be looking at the mesh. They're going to be looking at more ribbon choices to go with the mesh. Things that I'm not necessarily looking at. So even though there are other suppliers or other designers out there selling supplies, it's totally okay. You know, we don't all have the same style. We sell different things. There's plenty to go around.
And that's the same for everybody, but people need to hear that over and over and over again. People that say that it's saturated, that the wreath business is saturated. You know why you see it as saturated? Because that's all you're looking at. Look at anything that you focus on, you're going to see a lot of it. So therefore, you're going to think it's saturated. So that is a myth and it needs to stop. It is not true. There are so many doors for the designs that we make to be on. There's enough room for every single one of us. And I love that you said that everybody is going to be different. So when you are talking to your designers, to the designers that are in your group, the people that you are mentoring, what do you overall suggest that they do when they're building their supplies? So how should they shop?
Uh, Buy with intention. So don't overbuy. It is very easy in the beginning. And hey, preaching to the choir here. When I first started, I was at Hobby Lobby once a week. Even though I was selling my own supplies back then, I didn't have a full warehouse to shop from. Okay. So I only had a few things that I was getting in. So I was still shopping at the stores, but I would just go in and just start just loading my cart up. Oh, I'm going to buy this. Then, a year later, you have something that you've never touched because in your mind, you have this, oh, I can make this, I can make that, and you don't. So buy with intention, have a specific project in mind that you're going to make, maybe one or two projects that you're going to make, and buy specifically for those. Once you finish those, then you can go to the next thing. Because that was something I did in the beginning was I overspent, overbought, and now I have a whole upstairs stuff of things I don't use anymore because I don't work with mesh. I don't do work forms. I have a stack of work forms up there. So just, yeah, buy with intention. And then I would say if you're truly serious about really getting into silk floral design, like buy quality, okay? Buy quality. It doesn't have to be the most expensive. You don't have to buy all Real Touch. You can mix a few pieces in, have some less expensive items, and then pop a few little focal points in that kind of will take it to the next level. But there really is a difference in when you buy some florals from I don't want to say it, but some of those stores compared to when you're spending a little bit more and buying from some of the supply shops of us designers who sell supplies, because we are going to market, we're looking at them, we're touching them, we're feeling them, we know they look good, and it really does make your piece stand out.
You're talking about when you go to market, so you're touching things and you're getting things into your shop that you would use for your design. See, this is all part of stuff that we're teaching the community to do. You have to know the designer in order to know that they are shopping stuff that they're going to use in their design. So the quality of that, it's like you're trusting that person to bring you stuff that you then can elevate your designs. So with Melissa being who she is and knowing that I have gotten to know Melissa, I know that when I shop with her, and I'm bringing something into my shop, that I know I'm getting the quality that stands behind it. Can customers tell when you're using quality items?
I think they can. Yeah. I mean, look at some pictures. Just go look on Pinterest, look on Etsy, look at different designs. You can tell the difference. I think you can. When I'm showing videos of an arrangement or something that I've done, you'll be surprised. I get lots of comments how, oh my gosh, those look so real. Yes, they do. I picked them out because they look real. There is a difference. The customers, I think, can. And you'll see, they'll say, is that real or are those fake? When they're having to ask if they're real or fake, then you know you've done a good job.
Another tidbit for you. There's another tidbit for you. If somebody's asking, oh my gosh, it looks so real, that in itself tells you, like, sometimes I'll get a floral that looks like it's a little bit like crispy on the edges or whatever, but when you take a photograph of it and you're looking at it in a design, that's what makes it look real. It's not perfect because nature isn't perfect, right? So I love that you shop with intention. I love that you bring things into your shop that people like me that have no clue about florals, like when you're rattling off these flower names, I'm like, I just need to download your knowledge. I just need to like download your knowledge because it gets confusing. Like when you're designing, you're teaching pairings because that's one of my intimidations if I'm honest with you. I'm intimidated by using stuff that I shouldn't be using in a design. For example, taking something that's normally found in the summertime and mixing it in with something in the fall. Is that okay or is that frowned upon?
I think it's okay. I mean, obviously, there are certain things, if you've got a pine that's got snow on it, you don't want to use it in a spring design. But I did something, this. This is cypress. You normally use cypress in the winter, but it's a soft green cypress, and it paired beautifully in spring. But when you hear a cypress bush, you normally think of a winter. So yes, it can be in all the seasons, but you do have to kind of pay attention. There are certain things you wouldn't want to use. You don't want to use a rust color deep orange that you would use in fall. You wouldn't put that in a spring. But there are certain flowers that you can use all throughout the year. I mean, roses aren't growing in the winter, but I do red rose Christmas arrangements all the time. So yeah, and I didn't know all the flowers either, Claudia. So I've just learned because I have to buy them. So because I'm buying them, I'm learning them, but I still forget. I'll just start calling something. I'll say, I'm using this pine spray, and then I go back later and it's a cypress spray, you know?
Right, but at the same time, it's like that, those are all the types of things that, like, just sharing that with you and being honest with you about it, you were able to share with me, Claudia. It's a learning process. It's okay. We'll get there. Like, I don't even know, like, there's a new Speedwell filler. You know what I'm talking about? The Speedwell filler. See what I'm saying? These are new terms to me. And it's a really cute filler. It looks like little starburst of flowers and it's really small and it comes in various colors. But Speedwell? What the heck is Speedwell?
I
Like,
don't,
what is that?
I don't know either. I'm gonna have to go look it up now. But yeah, I don't know all the things. I still get my flowers confused. I'm not a traditional florist, right? Who works with all the real florals every single day. I've learned as I've grown, and a lot of it's just because I'm buying them, so I'm learning the names of them. But I still forget. I did not know what a peony was, 3 years ago. So yeah.
Is it cabbage bushes and peonies that have that same look?
A cabbage rose sometimes will look a little bit like a peony, but yeah, they can be confusing. Some of them still like I was like, is this a rose or is this a peony? Like, you never know. So
So you are working on really building your YouTube community along with your designer community. And so if somebody wanted to start their YouTube journey, what is something that you would recommend?
if you're going to, well, first, I do recommend starting YouTube. YouTube is great. Um, it's how I started. I went to YouTube to learn how to make a wreath. People are actively searching on YouTube for how-to videos. Um, so I would highly recommend it, but be consistent. YouTube likes consistency. So for the longest time, started every Sunday. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., there was a tutorial drop. And then I went to twice a week. So Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. Did that every day for all of last year, pretty much, for the most part. I kind of slowed it back a little bit at the end of last year. One, we were busy. It was fourth quarter. I couldn't keep up with it, to be honest with you. Then I was trying to focus on getting the group started. So I kind of scaled it back. I'm back to starting to ramp it back up again, but to grow, you need consistency. I've already got a lot of videos on YouTube, so I had a little bit of grace to kind of stop my weeklies for just a minute, and it didn't hurt me. But as you're starting to grow, it's very, very important to stay consistent with what you're posting.
What's interesting to me is when somebody says be consistent, you're thinking daily. No, she's saying consistent on the day and time that you do it. So if it's once a week, keep that once a week up. If it's twice a week, the same days, same time, keep that up. It's like a TV show, honestly. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like this is the time that you're gonna watch this TV show. This is the time that you're gonna see Melissa if you want to watch. Now, do you go live and then repost your videos, or do you just post a tutorial?
So I post a tutorial. So when I was talking about doing it twice a week, I had twice a week tutorials, Wednesday and Sunday. I will then also go live. So I didn't really start the live until end of last year, probably. But now once a week, mostly, I go live in YouTube. And then I will take that live after the live is done, because YouTube saves those, and I will create a little thumbnail picture for it. I will add my tags in it, and it's posted just like a regular video. So it's out there. Once you're monetized on YouTube, while you're live, there's no monetization, but once it's done, that video can start making monetization. So I immediately will go and update my title, update my thumbnails, treat it just like a regular video. Some people don't like to like the lives because they want to just focus on what they're trying to learn. They don't want the chit chat. That's perfectly fine. But it's another video that's up there. It's getting watch hours and potentially, making some pennies for me.
But that's an interesting point. So when people repurpose videos to then like where they're having interaction with people that are watching and they repost those onto YouTube, they might not get as much traction as if it was just a straight tutorial, is what you're saying. Okay, so the straight tutorials is how you get people to actually follow, maybe follow your live or follow your channel, subscribe, like and subscribe. You know how they all say like and subscribe, but that's how you get that done. Now, what if like you you were called out by your husband about I'm not that crafty, but now you're actually putting yourself out there and the things that you've learned and sharing those with other. So does teaching come more natural to you?
It does, and I think it's just because of what I did in my past life. I was, a mentor. I was growing my department. I was training them. So naturally, I want to teach. I want to help them grow. I was, trying to help build their careers, help them climb the corporate ladder. It was in my nature to teach. It was in my nature to mentor. So it just flows naturally for me to want to teach what I'm doing. Do I have all the answers? Of course not. I'm self-taught. I didn't go to floral school. I don't know all the right things, but I can teach you what I know, and that is what I just enjoy. I enjoy it. So I love to be able to teach something and then let somebody else try to make something similar and kind of see their vision on what I taught them, because we're all different and I don't want them to, necessarily make the exact same thing. Is it okay if they do? Of course, because when I was starting out, I didn't know how to let that creativity just flow. I need to know the steps. I'm learning. So I would literally put a designer on and I would pause it. She'd put something there, I'd pause it. I'd go put something there. I'd watch, I'd pause. I'd put something there. So when you're starting out, that's fine. But where I really started to grow is when I stopped doing that and just let the creativity flow. And if you think you're not creative, really, I think you probably truly are. Just don't overthink it. It's your design. It's just like an artist. So there's abstract artists. There's ones who do more, portrait style. Like there's no right or wrong. So yeah, but going back to your question, I just love to teach.
To me because you light up when you talk about it. Just so you know, your whole face lights up when you talk about it, and it's fantastic to see because I want others to basically get a true feel for who you are, how you teach, what you do, because that's the thing is people are going to see, know, and trust right before they get on board with stuff. And again, she's already shared that she's got a design group. If you want to go check it out, there's no hard feelings if you decide to come in, check it out, and then leave if that's not for you. It's perfectly fine. Like everybody learns differently. Every single person learns differently. Let me ask you this, when it comes to florals and stuff like that, have you found that watching people who create the florists, people that create like real flower designs, do you get inspiration from that? Like we're gonna dive into where you get inspired.
Absolutely. I watch florists a lot. I've actually played with real florals. I used to help out at when we were in Texas. Every year, our church would do a Valentine's Day event and a Mother's Day event where we'd make arrangements. The youth group would sell them in town because all the guys need to buy their wives pretty flowers, and so I would come in and help make arrangements. We used real florals. I didn't know anything about real florals, but I knew that I played with my silk florals and it had to be fairly similar. There are some nuances and some differences in working with the real flowers. They're much more delicate. They don't have the bendable stems like we're used to, but I was still able to create beautiful things working with real flowers. But I really started to kind of learn a lot working with the real flowers, and they're very similar in nature. So I definitely find inspiration. I look on YouTube a lot for, I watch our creators in our community, but I also like to search out for actual floral designers and how they're working with those real flowers, what they're pairing together, so I can bring it into the silk floral world.
Also talk about the fact that you see other people that are doing the same thing as you as more of a colleague rather than a competitor, right? So because we're all traveling towards the same dream, we're on that road to the same dream. Would you say is the best advice that you can give for people to put these on when things start getting a little overwhelming? Maybe you're doubting yourself a little too much. Like, what would be advice that you would give somebody that's looking at everybody else? Oh, my stuff isn't as good as theirs.
Yeah, that's a difficult one because I think we all struggle with that. We all have imposter syndrome. I still, I mean, depends on the day, right? Because there are some, I'm not the best designer out there. There are some beautiful makers out there, but then we also have to remember that we all started somewhere. We might be on a different uh, place in our journey, right? So I'm not where sometimes if I go back and look at the stuff I made 6 years ago. Oh my gosh. But we all start somewhere. It's okay. It is perfectly okay for my arrangement not to look like this one because I can guarantee my stuff didn't look like that 6 years ago. But does it get difficult sometimes? Of course it does. I think we're human. We can't say that it doesn't, especially when, like you said, it's in your face all the time. If you're searching for something on any of the platforms, that algorithm kicks in, and that is all you're going to see. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking for something cooking. I wanted a recipe. For days, all I saw was cooking recipes. So when all you're seeing is wreath makers and designs, yeah, you can sometimes feel like it's saturated because the algorithm is showing you that because you look for it. But you have to remember, this is a big, big world out there. And not everybody likes the big arrangements that I do. Some people want small and simple. Some people want minimal, like they just want a few little flowers. Like my mom, she'll oh, that's pretty, but that's not her style. She doesn't want the big huge full flower type arrangement. She wants something very dainty. So there's something for everybody. So just you have to remember that there is something for everybody.
Person that likes making big over the top centerpieces, arrangements, wreaths, or whatever, should I start making smaller things that maybe I don't love to get more sales, or should I just stay with the stuff that I know that I'm putting my heart and soul in?
I mean, I think there's good to have a little bit of both. Primarily follow your heart and what you love. So you're going to see more big over the top arrangements, things in my shop, but do I make smaller things? Of course. Sometimes I have just a few little florals left on the table from a project and I need to do something with them. So I'm just going to pick up a small little container. I'm going to make something really small. It's good to have little shop fillers. Listen, I get it. Not everybody can afford. I technically would not go and spend that much money on an arrangement, right? We can't all afford the big stuff. So it's good to have some lower price items in your shop as well. And especially if you do like boutiques or craft shows, things like that. These big arrangements, like the one behind me, is not going to sell at a craft show, so you kind of have to know your market as well. So absolutely make some smaller things, but stay true to your heart and what you really love too.
That's great advice because I mean it's tried and true. I mean, you see people like it's that chasing the numbers, chasing the dollars, chasing. You can't be chasing everything because it's going to fail. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be profitable or sustainable. That's my thing. Is you can't sustain that chasing, chasing, chasing. So, and that's all part of why you grow and pivot and change things and try things for your business. So you mentioned craft shows and boutiques and stuff like that. Did you ever do any of that stuff?
did 2 craft shows. I did 2 craft shows and I said, this is not for me. It's a lot of work. And I give kudos to those who do the craft shows because you have to haul. Well, for one, you don't really know like what's going to sell, what you need to bring. So you have to make all these things. Then you got to transport it. You set it all up. Luckily, again, I had support. My family helped me set up the thing. And then you got to take it back down usually that day or the very next day. It's a lot of work. So for me, it wasn't my calling. There are a lot of people who love it. I just would rather sell online. As far as boutique goes, there was one boutique here near us that was just starting. They opened and they were looking for some vendors. I signed up. I did like a little 6-month thing with them. I pulled out of it. It just wasn't profitable for me and very time consuming. So someday would I love to have a boutique? Of course, that's one of those, dreams out there. I don't know. For me, I just love e-commerce. I can be here, I can be in the warehouse and I can ship and I don't have to go and run a store and all the things. So, but again, never say never.
She's very much good to herself and true to herself when it comes to never say never, because the things that we don't even think that we're going to be doing, all of a sudden we're like, well, this might work now. This is the season where I could possibly fit such and such in. So I appreciate that about you, that you never say never. So have you ever taught any in-person classes?
I have not. No, I would love to someday. Our warehouse just isn't quite set up where we could do that. But if we were to continue to grow, I would love to build a second shop that I could host in-person classes and maybe even have like a small storefront. We're kind of out in the country, so I don't know how much traffic we would get, but you never know. So yeah, you never know. But no, I would love to. Or if there's other creators out there who do host in-person shops and are looking for somebody to come and be a guest designer, I would absolutely love to do that. Would I be scared to death? Yes, I would. But I would do it scared. And that's another thing I've always learned, going back to the business days, being in corporate America, do it scared. If you're not scared, you're not growing and you're not pushing yourself. So got to do it.
So you've heard it here first. If anybody's looking for designers for their event, look at Melissa, because she is willing to go and share her talents in front of many creators for in-person events. And that's fantastic to know. But that's something also is putting yourself out there and networking within the community, because that's important too. So don't just limit yourself to what you're able to do. Network with others, come together, create something bigger than just yourselves, because this is the thing. It always works when you work it, right? It always works when you work it, and do it scared. Melissa said it here for you guys. Do it scared. That's how you grow. Melissa's an introvert. Let's talk about that.
Very, very much so. Very much so. I'm a little better now than I used to be, just because I've had to make myself, you got to put yourself out there. Like I said, people are not going to find you. They are not going to find you if you stay behind the shadows. So I had to get over it and but if I was to go back, and we may talk about this later, but if I was to go back to when I started, I would tell myself, go do the live, do the live. You got to get yourself out there. I was scared to death. So I didn't really start consistently going live until probably early last year. I had gone periodically live, but man, I had to talk myself into it. And now I absolutely love it because I'm building those relationships and realizing that there are just some beautiful people out there in the community who are there to cheer you on and who just want to come and hang out and see how you design. And maybe they don't even do it to sell. They just want to come and watch you and talk with you. And are there, the negative Nancy's out there? Of course, but you just have to ignore it. You have to ignore it and embrace those who are there to support you. And so I absolutely love going live now. But if you would have told me that 2 years ago, I would have thought, are you crazy? Are you crazy? No. But now put me in a room with some people that's probably a little different story. I'm going to be more the one that's going to be a little bit more pulled back. But once I get to know you, I'm good. It's just kind of get taken. Takes me a little bit. Takes me a little bit.
Well, it's funny because I'm the opposite, and I've recently learned that I may be more ambivert. Like I can be both. Like I can be really myself and extroverted with the right group of people, but at the same time I'm going to be quieter and more observant when I'm not sure of the vibe or the feel of the room, so I might just observe more than let myself shine, because I can be a lot, Melissa. I can be a lot, but typically people that are introverted will I will attract those people because I can pull people out of their shell that have such great personalities, but a lot of people don't know that because they are more introverted and feel more, I don't know, just more cautious around certain groups of people. But it's about being around people that you can be your authentic self around. And I feel that that is a safe way to be. That is, but when Melissa said to me, I'm an introvert, I said, you've got to be kidding me. I actually said that. And right now, Michael is LOLing in the chat.
He knows I'm an introvert. He's an extrovert. He can talk to anybody and everybody. And so that's why we're a good team, because, he pulls it out of me sometimes. But yeah, I wish I had the personality of an extrovert. I really do. So kudos. It's a great personality trait to have, but yeah, we're getting better. We're getting better.
Well, what's hilarious about that whole thing is when we marry like our spouse, it always has to be, you always have to look at what that person brings out in you. Do they bring out the best in you? Do they make you better than you are on your own? And it has to be somebody that is going to be supportive and is going to cheer you on, not somebody that's always looking at you going, Melissa, you have that RBF face going on. And I know that that's not you, but if somebody saw you right now, they would think that you were being all judgy, judgy. Have you ever gotten that from people? Like, I didn't know I could even talk to you because I was like, oh, not going to do that.
Absolutely. And I tell my husband that all the time. I was like, tell me if I get the RPF face. Because I don't mean to be. It just is, And a lot of times it's because my brain is constantly thinking. I'm in business mode. Like when I'm at market, right? I'm focused on what I'm doing. But sometimes when you're walking around and you're focused, you can come off that way as an introvert, right? And then you see all these other people just, laughing and having a good time and all the things. And I don't want people to ever think they can't come in. So if you see me in public, do come up and say something to me. I will not bite your head off. I'm an introvert. And when my brain is, in work mode, sometimes that face comes out. Sometimes it comes out.
But are you self-aware enough to like have a conversation with somebody to be like because I'm a there goes a squirrel, there goes a squirrel. So I can't see you and I being at market together because I would drive you nuts. I'm just saying I would drive you nuts. And I know that about myself. So whoever I go to market with, because I haven't been yet and I really want to go just to look, just to see the trends and all of that kind of stuff. Because I am not in any way, shape, or form at this time thinking about getting any supplies. But I would go, but I would drive you crazy because I'm one of those people, I won't even tell you. I'm just, if I see something shiny or catches my eye, I'm gone. I'm like, I'm walking that way. And I've actually heard my friends say, where did she go? Oh, that's just Claudia. She'll be back. She'll catch up to us. She's just, her brain took her that way. She'll be back. That's just me.
We'd be perfect at market. You could go shop and then come back to me with something good that you find.
But see, this is how you learn. This is how you learn about other people. Yeah, I have no problem spending other people's money. I'm just saying, I'm just kidding. But I mean, that's part of it though, is like everybody's got different tastes. And a lot of times when you are buying things that you would use in your shop, you might be missing a whole other market because that's not where your likes, vision, or whatever is. And I get that. So you're right. Maybe I should rethink that. Maybe I'll be like, hey, Melissa, you want to tag along? Because I'll go with you. Okay, Michael said she is at work mode at market. She's coordinating products. You don't set stuff up together, do you? Do you grab things and put them together to see how they would work?
Sometimes, yes. Not all the times. That's why I take lots of photos so that when I come back, like I said, I'm very analytical. So when I come back, I can say, okay, I like this flower from this supplier. I think it would pair really nicely with this floral over here from this supplier. And so I kind of do pictures. But when you're in the showroom, they absolutely encourage you to pull stuff off the wall. A lot of people will set up at tables. They'll start bringing ribbons over and try to pair things up. I tend to, because and a lot of designers will actually make their purchases right there while they're at market. That's just not my personality. I need to come back and kind of think it all through. So I just take lots of photos, but absolutely you like, oh, this will look really good with this greenery over here. And so, yeah, you will coordinate and work on pairing things together while you're there.
Do people do that at market because of fear that stuff will run out or you can't get stuff? Like, how does that work? Like, supply wise, is it possible that you were too late or that's already been spoken for or it runs out? Like, is there anything like that?
No, when you're shopping, you can. I think it's just a preference. I think it's just a preference. Some people just want to go, they want to buy while they're there and be done with it. Okay, that's just. I think it's just a preference. But when we're placing orders, all of our suppliers will give us a deadline. So we need because things are imported, so they have to get their orders in to their companies by a certain date so that they can start manufacturing them. They have to be on the boats and shipped over here by a certain time. So we're given a deadline, like we need all your orders in by X date. So I'm not going to miss out on anything by coming home and putting my order in. It's just, I think it's just a personal preference. Some people want to go, they want to get it done with and get back to life. I am just a little bit slower in that. I don't want to make that rash decision when I'm at a store that I got to buy this. And then what if I go to the next store and there's something better, you know? So I like to just kind of compare. And, some designers will, okay, well, I'm going to spend this amount at this store. I'm going to spend this amount at this store. And it doesn't matter necessarily if one has one flower that's, exactly the same or a little different. There's no right or way, I can't even speak, right or wrong way to purchase. That's just the way I like to do it.
But I love that because then you're not feeling that pressure, right? That pressure of you're going to miss out. You're not going to be able to get what you need for your shop. So I love that that's an opportunity for you, but I'm an impulse buyer. So it's very difficult. Like I know myself well enough to know that watching live sales is very dangerous for me. I want it all. I'm not kidding. I want it all. And that's a problem. So I have to put myself, I have to make a budget. I have to put myself on restriction to not make any more purchases, to cut myself off, only because it's not a matter of, like, for example, my daughter's wedding. It's not a matter of fear. It's not a fear thing, but I know that I'm shopping from you, I'm shopping from other suppliers, and you guys have limited quantities of what I'm looking for. So I know that I have to get what I need for the stuff that I'm making, or it could not be available for me. Like it could run out and not be available. You're not experiencing that.
Well,
Mary says impulse buyers are the best. Mary,
when I'm placing my import order, I'm not worried about missing out. Where that comes into play is, let's say I make my import order for 100 stems. Okay. That comes in, I get 100 listed. What if that takes off and sells out in like 2 weeks? Because I only placed an import order for 100, I may not be able to restock. It's the restock that you have to worry about because you're placing import order. Some of our suppliers will carry an excess amount where you can restock, or maybe another person kind of backed out of their order, so they've got some extra. So the restocks is where it's hit or miss. When I'm placing my original order, I'm not worried about anything. Like I can't get my hands on anything because they're having to order it themselves to have them come in. It's the restock stuff If I don't order enough the first time, I may not be able to restock it. And that's where it can get tricky. So you have to kind of like, that's where it can get difficult, because do I order 2 cases of this? Do I order just 1? This is a new item. Is it going to take off? And then let's say it takes off and oh no, I'm out in 2 weeks and everybody wants this product. Can I get more? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So that's where it can be difficult, is when you're trying to restock them.
Those pink lilies.
I know. I don't know if
Those
I
pink lilies. I know, but the thing with those pink lilies is there's a sign that was made with the lilies that look exactly like the lilies that you were selling. And that's why I was like, oh, there they are. They match. Oh my gosh. But I was also late in shopping.
yeah. See, now I'll know next year when I buy them to buy more. Yeah.
But there's a beautiful He is Risen cross square sign that those lilies that you carried match perfectly. And Melissa was so kind to send me a set from her stash, and I will forever, forever love you for that. Like, I cannot praise you enough for giving me at least, but they're gorgeous. Are the white lilies, I assume, are the same quality, right?
They're the exact same flower. It's just in the white. Yeah. Exact same bush.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, we've got a few minutes left to wrap it up, because I want to be very, even though we got started a little later because Claudia was having technical difficulties with the TikTok. I do want to wrap this up in a nice packaged bow. But again, if somebody wants to shop with you, okay, so we're going to talk about shopping with you, the places that you recommend that they shop with you, where they're going to get the best bang for their buck, is your website, right?
It is my website. Yep. TCT Crafts, the dot, and then you know the rest.
As well as do you have a quantity that they need to reach in order to get shipping?
So we do have free shipping at 150 and above, and then we have just a flat rate shipping. If you get to 125, it's just a 9.95. I kind of split the cost of the shipping a little bit with you at the 125 mark, and then it's completely free after 150.
So there's that portion of it, but also she is on Etsy for those that prefer to shop through Etsy, but I highly recommend that you shop through the website. Now, do you have any payment plans that people should know about that's attached to your shop, or no?
So Shopify, I use Shopify for my website. They do have Shop Pay. They've got, I think there's another program on there, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. All the credit cards. So, but Shop Pay is available. A lot of my customers use that, and so that they can pay it off over time. We also sell at, can I say stores? I'm not sure. Okay. We also sell at Michael's. Not all the things. There are certain things like fair silk ribbon. I have agreements with some suppliers where I cannot sell at certain places. So you're going to find everything on the website, but there are some things that you will find even on Michael's. Again, Michael's has fees. Etsy has fees. You're going to get the better pricing if you shop directly from the website. But again, I understand certain people, some people are more comfortable shopping at a larger store. They feel just a comfort level, and I totally get that. So you can find us over on Michael's as well.
You sell a variety of ribbon. You sell all kinds of ribbon in your shop. What do you lean more towards?
I am a fair silk. I'm a fair silk girl. I am. It's just I tend to lean to more designer wreaths and arrangements, and I love a good strong wire on a ribbon, and you can't beat a fair silk ribbon. D. Stevens is also very nice. So those are my 2 that I lean towards. However, one of our suppliers has came out with a deluxe brand ribbon, which is very good, very good. And so we've started stocking up on a lot of that, and I got a lot more of that coming. That is extremely comparable to a D. Stevens or a fair silk. It's still a little more expensive than just your normal ribbon, but you're not quite paying as much as you would on one of the other designer ribbons, and it's very good quality. So I highly recommend, if you're just kind of stepping your toes into designer ribbon, to try the deluxe brand.
There's just something about when you see a bow made with it, having a mixture of the more high quality ribbon added to your design. There's a, like, it stands up. The ribbon actually stands up. It stays where you put it, and the quality, you can see it. Even in pictures, you can see the quality. So I'm thrilled that you're going to be carrying more deluxe ribbon. That is fantastic. And again, everything that we're talking about, tctcrafts.com, is where you will find all of these things, including how to get to your
Membership.
yes, your membership. Thank you. And go ahead and talk about the discount that you offer as well for your shop in your membership.
Yes, so all of my members get 20% off all of their supplies in the membership group. So I have a lot of members who purchase quite a lot, and so that discount alone pays for their membership. So it's totally worth it. If you do a lot of shopping, throw in the membership, and you're going to get that 20% discount. So pretty good.
It's absolutely fantastic. You also have an affiliate program. So share about your affiliate program.
So I do have an affiliate program. There's more information on the website as well. So you can sign up if you enjoy shopping, and if you're one who likes to share where you get supplies and do the unboxings and all the things, you might as well get paid for it. So, it's a benefit. I want this to make this a benefit for you as well as for me. So obviously that's going to help get my name and exposure for the shop, but it also helps you as another revenue stream. And you're already using the products. And if you love them, we'd love for you to share them and make a little commission on them. So we do have an affiliate program as well, which you can find on the website.
All the things. Melissa is all about being part of the community, helping the community, sharing her time and talents with this community. So if you don't follow her, she is on all the platforms. Is there any one of the platforms that you're not on?
I don't
Right,
think
you're on all of them.
there's a couple new ones. I think Epic or something. I don't know. There's a couple new ones I'm not on yet, but pretty much all of the main ones I'm on. Yeah.
Now, where, like, if somebody wanted to contact you, okay, they have an event coming up. They need people to come design for their event. How would they contact you to go be part of their event?
There is a contact us on the website, or you can just message me, or you can email me, Melissa at tctcrafts.com. So all the places. Messenger,
So
email, contact us.
the fact that you make it that easy, I mean, honestly, branding, can you share how important it is to brand yourself?
Very important. We talked about this earlier. We are not big box stores, and people do not know us. They don't. You have to put your name out there. You have to brand yourself. You have to be the face of your business. I know a lot of people do not like to show their face. That's okay, but come up with another way to constantly be putting whether it's you're constantly throwing your logo out there, something to get in front of people. But for me, I found it very important to people, tend to lean to shop with people they know, like, and trust. So that's why you're going to see me on a lot of my posts. I'm constantly doing product showcase videos, just a little 30 seconds of showing off a new product, something, but my face is always out there. I'm constantly branding TCT Crafts, Melissa, and just being consistent with it. So, yay.
Before last year, I didn't know who Melissa was, but now I love that she's in my circle, she's in my space, and I can attest that I've messaged her on social media and been like, and she's just like right back. So I know that she's accessible, but give her time. I mean, she is human, and in the busy times, like, have some grace, because she does get busy. Mary says that she loves your social media aesthetic,
Thank you.
aka branding. Social media aesthetic is on point. Another thing that I have found a lot, like, if you have writing, like your writing that's behind you, flipping your camera, like, is so important, especially if, like, I wear a lot of shirts that have writing on them and stuff like that. So I make sure that I project what I like. So a lot of times when I have my setup, I'm not using the front facing camera. I'm using the other side of my camera so that everything looks right.
You gotta teach me how to do that because I don't know how to do that.
My husband, like I sat down with him and I said, first of all, I cannot watch myself on another screen because there's a delay and that messes with my head. I will pause and wait for myself to catch up. That doesn't flow well for social media. So my husband and I sat down, we had a conversation. I'm like, this is what I need. This is what I want to see. I don't want the wording on my, because it drives me nuts. It's one of those my own pet peeve that when and I literally appreciate so much when somebody thinks like that and they flip the camera, and it's not a natural thing for people to do, but you have wording behind you.
Right.
You have wording behind you. I'm going to teach you how to
Yay.
flip that, how to but that's me being a friend. And when it's accepted like that, like it's not a critique, I'm not criticizing you, that's not me criticizing you, but I want you to be the best TCT crafts out there.
Well, I would appreciate it because when it comes to like I'm smart in certain things, but when it comes to working these phones and these little technical pieces, nope, it's over my head. So I don't know how to do any
Well,
of that.
you saw me struggle. I mean, I made it work because I've been muting myself. But if I had to listen to that the whole time, I probably would have been like, yeah, we're not doing this today. But we've advertised that we were going to do this today. I'm so thankful for everybody that showed up and has been part of the conversation today. That has been amazing. And thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. But this will be reposted on YouTube, probably with the annoying clicking and stuff like that. So I apologize, Melissa. But here's the deal that I'm going to make with you, Miss Melissa. A year from now, we're going to bring you back and see how well, how different, how much bigger, all the things that you have been this coming year, because I have a feeling that we're going to see so much good stuff come from you.
Well, thank you. I will gladly come back and hopefully I have some really cool stuff to share with you.
You will, because you know what it takes to build. You are consistent. You do make the changes that need to be made in order to get to that next step. So one thing that I'm going to do right now is we're going to do rapid fire hot seat stuff. Just just answer. Oh, it's fine. It'll be okay. But it's just something fun. Okay. Ribbon or florals?
Florals.
Of course. Wreaths or centerpieces?
Centerpieces.
Teaching or designing?
That's a tough one. Teaching.
Early morning or late night creativity?
Early morning.
YouTube or Etsy, if you had to pick one? If you had to give one up, which one would you give up?
Sadly, YouTube, but Etsy does bring me customers.
What is one mistake you see wreath makers making over and over?
Overspending.
What is something in business you wish someone had warned you about?
There is no clocking out. You don't clock out at 5 p.m. It's 24/7.
What is one thing you would stop doing immediately if you were starting today?
Chasing all the shiny things. I chase too many things, and I spent way too much money.
You know your husband's in the chat. This is cracking me up. Okay, what is the best investment you made in your business?
Starting with a business coach from very early on.
What is the biggest myth about growing a creative business?
That it's not a real job.
How many times have you heard that? I mean,
A lot.
how is what you do a real job? All you do is play with ribbon and florals all day.
That's the little small fun part of it, but it is a real job. You don't grow by just designing. No, there's so much more behind it.
Michael just called it out, and I'm not going to repeat it because I'm not going to, but in the chat, do you see it? Anyway, we're moving on. I'm just saying. Okay, what moment made you question everything in your business?
What moment? I don't know. When I was just running out of time, like there's not enough hours in the day. So I had to make a pivot. We didn't even talk about this, but I used to be a fake bake designer. I did fake food art. I I did not have time. I just did not have time. And I had to make the decision starting in January, we're stopping that. I discontinued my clay line about 6 months ago. And starting in January, we're phasing out all the food art and I'm focusing on what I need to be focusing on and not that.
But see, that's huge. That's something for next time, how that transition happened and the pivot point and everything. We've been almost on 2 hours. There's never enough time to touch on everything, right? And your husband agrees it was a great choice. So kudos to that. Have you ever had a season you thought maybe this isn't going to work?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, I don't know if it's a particular season, but just I don't know if you're talking about like the actual seasons or just the season in your business, but all the time. Yeah.
Business, because I mean, because people need to know that this is normal. We're normalizing the things everybody thinks. Yeah. So, okay, the next question. What is something people assume about your success that isn't true?
I mean, that it happened overnight. I don't know. Like that I'm making lots of money. That's probably a big one. They think I'm making lots of money off all these sales. Oh my gosh, I just spent $200 with you. I'm not making a paycheck yet, y'all. It's all going right back into the business. So it's a goal. We all are not. We're not in this to not make money, right? But yeah, I'm not racking in the dollars yet.
But that's the reality of it. That is the long and the short and the reality. And she couldn't do this without her family support. She couldn't. There's no way. Okay, next question. What has building this business cost you personally?
Um, Besides the financial aspect of it, oh man, that's a tough one. What does it cost me? I mean, it's cost me a little bit of freedom. I can't just get up and go vacation and do things like someone that can put in their PTO and take 2 weeks off. So a little bit of freedom I've lost when you run your own business because if you're not here to run it, you gotta make arrangements. It's not quite as easy to just get up and go. So.
The whole risk versus reward, right? You are your company, right? But the goal is to get it to where it sustains itself so that you can then get that freedom back. But there's work that has to come first that you have to get to. So I'm cheering you on. I'm cheering you on. Okay. What has building this business giving you that corporate never could?
Joy and loving what I do. Love what I do. It's not work when you love what you do. There are many, many nights when I just want to go to bed so I can wake up the next morning and go to work. Like, I never had that before, but it's like, oh, tomorrow morning I'm going to do this, this, and this. So, like, I'm excited to go to sleep so I can wake up and do it again.
That's a gift in and of itself. That right there is a gift in and of itself. All right. What platform has helped your business the most?
Social media or just, I mean, I can go back to where I started, Etsy. I wouldn't be here without that, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are against it because of the fees. There are fees everywhere. There's a cost to running business. But they got my foot in the door. And from there, I grew it. And now I'm driving my own traffic to my own website. But you can't just start there. You have to start with, a sustainable platform like Etsy um, to help get that momentum going.
Like, because you hear that people complain about the fees all the time, but the thing is that Again, having a coach that walks you through, that teaches you how, gets you to the other side where you understand, and it's not a big deal. Because that's the hard part for everybody, is you have to understand what you're doing in order to understand why the fees are there. It's like opening up a brick and mortar. You're going to have overhead. So you have to look at Etsy fees as your overhead. That's just all part of it, right? And they're bringing the traffic to you as well. So there's that. Not sure she shared this, but she started this in a 14 by 6 she shed that lasted 3 months. You had a 3 month she shed. That's hilarious.
We outgrew that quick. And then it started coming into the house. So much so that we had to move. Yeah.
I love that your husband's in here. That's fantastic. What platform drains you the most?
Brains me? Oh, I don't know. Can I say Facebook? I don't know.
But that's a good thing because people need to hear that as well. So to me, that says that you're willing to work the platform for what the platform can do, because algorithms are hard, guys, and they're not rinse and repeat. Every single platform has a different algorithm. They just do. So it can be frustrating. How do you manage the frustration between them? Do you just not care, not focus on that?
You can't focus on it. Like, does it get to you on occasion? Yes, because you're like, I'm doing all this work. I'm doing all the things. Look at my posts. There is something every single day. Why am I not growing? But you have to just keep doing what you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing.
Again with the consistency, and I actually did a whole real talk talking to people about consistency and motivation and how important it is. And I tell you, that is going to be, if nothing else, your word this year. If you're not consistent, focus on consistency. It'll change your world. All right, what kind of content performs best for you right now?
Live, lives, the scary lives. Because you're building that trust with the community. You're a face behind the business. And I wish I would have done it sooner.
You heard it. You heard it from her. She wishes she would have done it sooner. So whatever it takes, whatever you need to hit that live button, do it scared. Do it scared. It will be awkward. At first, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be awful, if I can say that even. But at the same time, I've always said this. You just need one person. Grab somebody from your community and say, listen, I'm going live. Can you just be in there with me and talk to me while I get through this? That's all it takes, right, Melissa?
That's all it takes. And hey, start out with the camera pointed down. Just do your hands. If you're like, it's scary. I get it. From an introvert, it's scary. You will eventually start to feel the confidence and start recognizing people that keep coming back, and then the camera can come up.
I love that you shared that from such a personal, like you understand that fear, like you fully understand that fear. What content do you wish people would pay more attention to?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe my actual completed designs. So because I sell products and designs, it can get tricky, right? I have a mixed audience. It's important to know your customer. Unfortunately, I have two different types of customers. I have the customer that just doesn't want to design, and I have customers who want all the supplies. So sometimes my designs take longer to sell because they're not really paying attention. They're just looking for supplies. I got a very mixed audience. So
And like you said, it's one of those things that it's a navigational thing. It's how do you get it to convert? So Pinterest is where you can get the convert. So can you share a little bit about what does convert to sales of your actual product that you make?
Pinterest is a big one. So I use Pinterest every single time I list something. I have kind of like this little step that I do, and as soon as I get it listed, I go immediately to Pinterest. I use Tailwind, which is an app. I pay to use that because it helps me design my pins, and it will post them and schedule them out for months. And so it's a tool. It's very important to find wise tools that will help you Work smarter, not harder. And so I use Pinterest, and that's a big one.
How do you spell that what you use in order to do that where people can go figure it out? Because you already said technical stuff you're not great with. So this is good for people that aren't technical.
Tailwind is very easy. Tailwind, like Tail, like tail, and then wind, WIND, all one word, Tailwind. It is a tool. They have a free version. I do the paid version because I like to use they have a very cool feature where it will design all your pins and you can just pick the ones you want. You can bulk edit. It takes me 2 to 3 minutes at the most to get tons of pins out there. During fourth quarter, that's when Pinterest is very heavy. I mean, I had 2 million eyeballs on my Pinterest account. It's way down now. Pinterest is very seasonal, but Tailwind is a good app to use.
Definitely something that benefited you, like benefited your business and everything else. Well, that's awesome. Melissa, thank you. Thank you for being in the hot seat, for doing all the things. If you could give one piece of advice to women watching right now, to women, men, whoever's doing the Wreath thing, who feels stuck, what would you tell them?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep moving. Sometimes put the blinders on, not all the time, because it is important. I think I left my blinders on for too long, if I can be quite honest. I was trying not to let the other, but community is very important. So I left my blinders on a little too long. It's important to have community, but sometimes you do have to put them on. And just when you kind of feel like you're struggling, just keep moving. Consistency, again, back to that. I mean, we're gonna keep saying that. Be consistent. Don't give up. You can do it.
Appreciate your time, Melissa. Thank you so much for doing this. Guys, remember you can find her on all the platforms. And until next week, we'll see you then. Bye, Michael. It was nice meeting you, kind of. Bye, guys.